Yes, of course, we all know that they have lessened their barriers to foreigners' entry into their countries, and that is what has been repeatedly.
And that's a great segue into our interview. In fact, we want to know from investors what it would take from the government to improve FDI. Joining us live from Makati is John Forbes, Senior Advisor to the American Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. John, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Quentin. Pleasure to be on your show again.
Thanks. We were together last week, but I think what we were talking about is the investment climate moving forward. We're now entering the last 9 months of the President administration. Which laws should the President Aquino prioritize before he steps down to boost investments in the country?
Well, there's very little time left for laws still to be enacted. We should note the competition and cabotage laws were signed by the President several months ago. The DICT, Department of Information Communications Technology, was passed on second reading in the House on Monday and could be passed today or tomorrow in the House and be sent to the President. Investors have advocated that for over a decade. The Customs Modernization and Tariff Act has also been passed in the House, and the committee report is before the Senate. So hopefully that will be taken up when they return on November the 3rd. There's some more. The BOT amendments, unfortunately, are still remaining in the Appropriations Committee in the House of Representatives. They almost passed last Monday, but there were some objections to them, and that will amend the BOT law. It's called the PPP Act, and both the Senate President and the House Speaker have prioritized those bills. There's an apprenticeship law that would help youth get better job training. That is on second reading in the Senate, and we hope that that will be taken up. And then I would note the foreign investment negative list is not getting any less negative. It's not getting more positive. There are bills languishing, and of course there's the resolution of Speaker Belmonte that would make some amendments that would allow the constitutional restrictions on foreign equity to be changed by the Congress, and that seems also to be stuck in the Congress. So there's still quite an agenda for this administration, although the time is short, and one would hope that the major presidential candidates will pick up the same agenda and not wait 2 years until the laws can be also changed in the 17th Congress.
John, it's interesting you mentioned legislation. I'm looking at what the Joint Foreign Chamber statement by saying there are some things the executive branch can do immediately, perhaps without Congress, to get things going, to bring in more FDI so it can pick up in the second half of the year. What are we looking at in terms of immediate low-hanging fruit?
Well, I guess the big concern that I think has led to a reduction in FDI this year, and the final FDI for PEZA, for example, is probably going to be a little bit higher. I just spoke to PEZA before this interview, and they're still quite confident they can get an increase of 5 to 8% in their approvals. That's not actual realized investment, but they have a good record of most of their approvals being actualized. The congestion concern, of course, reached a crisis point last year with port congestion, and that led to some new investment or expansion decisions being delayed. So it's very, very critical that the reforms being put into place to increase the efficiency of the movement of containers in and out of the Port of Manila continue. We really can't have what happened last year with various municipalities in the Metro Manila area declaring truck bans. So we're looking forward to the workings of the new appointment system and 7-day-a-week operations at the port and Bureau of Customs. The other infrastructure challenges take more time. I think we're disappointed that major PPP projects, very few have actually been finished in this administration, but at the same time, we're encouraged that there's a long, long menu of new ones that should be bid out. So again, we would ask the presidential candidates to pledge that they will continue the PPP program of the current administration seamlessly into the second half of 2016 and the next term.
So, John, Sean and I were talking about the fact that platforms have been talked about as early as now, which is an encouraging sign. What is the role of the Chamber now in ensuring these platforms are being discussed during the debates, if we have them, and prior to them coming into the elections?
Well, in one particular instance, we're having a forum on March 1 which is in the first month of the official campaign season. And we have already invited the 3 declared major candidates to come and present their thoughts on improving the foreign investment business environment. We, of course, have shared our advocacy papers with them and will continue to do so. And we're continuing with the Philippine domestic business groups to dialogue with the incumbent administration. There's a meeting coming up on the 16th of October to review the letter that was sent on May 15 to the president. So we're optimistic that the current administration, the next administration, will listen to business, and we hope to get that FDI figure up in the Philippines in future years.
John, thank you very much. Look forward to those insights and the fora that you talked about.